Metal Mike here, and this is 10 hair and glam metal bands that you need to get to know. Now, if you're big into this scene, maybe you already know these bands. You might feel some of these bands aren't rare enough, but hopefully I'll share a few with you that you forgot about or missed back in the day. Hey, maybe you weren't even alive in the 80s and you're just getting into bands like Crue and Poison and you want to broaden your hair metal horizons? Well, this is the perfect video for you. First up is Babylon AD. Now, these guys were led by singer Derek Davis. Great vocals, cool sleazy riffs, and catchy, well-written songs. Now, I recommend starting with their 1989 debut. Every song on there is good, man. Definitely one of the finest hair glam metal debuts from the late 80s. Now, they had a lot of strong singles that they released, like this one. And don't forget Hammer Swings Down. Now, these dudes got the chance to rub elbows with RoboCop, doing The Kid Goes Wild for RoboCop 2. Check this album out, man. Now, speaking of amazing debuts, look no further than Heaven Edge's self-titled album from 1990. Here's them in their video, Skin to Skin. Now, this is another one with superb musicianship and songwriting. Songs like this one, Find Another Way, Come Play the Game, Daddy's Little Girl, so many potential hits. Now, unfortunately, Columbia kind of pulled the plug on these guys around 1991 with the onset of grunge. If they only would have got signed a few years earlier. Now, one band and album that you've got to have in your collection is Nitro's OFR. Now, the band was the brainchild of singer Jim Gillette and guitarist Michelangelo. No, not that Michelangelo. Here they are from their video, Freight Train. Everything in this is just over the top, kind of like the Stallone movie, with screams and shredding. Now, the image is way over the top as well. I think this is probably the definition of hair metal. They had so many cool tracks. Songs like Double Trouble and Shot Heard Round the World, just killer stuff. Now, the music is a hybrid of glam and thrash. Now, they claim they were encouraged to overdo it with the playing by their record label. And maybe they were, but I think it's really part of their charm and what makes them so memorable. Hey, do you recognize this guitar riff? Of course, it's Show a Little Love by Lillian Axe. This band is one of the finest, most underrated bands of the genre, in my opinion. Led by guitarist Steve Blaze and featured the amazing vocals of Ron Taylor. Now, if you dig that classic 80s sound, you gotta check out their 1988 debut and 1989 stellar Love and War. Love and War really showed major depth, and it was just not your typical hair metal album. Their debut has so many killer songs, songs like Nobody Knows, Laughing in Your Face, and this one, Misery Loves Company. Now, if you've never listened to Lillian Axe, do yourself a favor and check them out. Now, if you thought all the cool glam metal bands came from LA, Tiger Tails is here to prove you wrong. Hailing from the UK, they hit the scene going wild and sleazy with 1987's Young and Crazy. It's definitely a raw album, has some elements of Crue's Too Fast for Love in there. Now, here they are with their original singer, the unique Stevie James, doing Hollywood Killer. Now, in 1990, they brought in singer Kim Hooker for the pop metal masterpiece Berserk, featuring this one, Love Bomb Baby. Now, one constant member of the band is the guitarist, Jay Pepper. Just make sure you go check out my glam metal mates. Now, next up is Vane, and you've got to listen to their debut, No Respect. Now, their first single was Beat the Bullet. Such a catchy, moody track. Now, this band is led by Davey Vane, and I think his singing style really brings a unique sound to this band. He's definitely got a super cool vibe, and I really think he brings in alternative influences, stuff like The Cure, into the glam metal sound. And lyrically, this album just feels a little bit deeper and darker, especially in songs like this one, Icy. My advice? Get to know Vane. Now in 1985, Keel put out The Right to Rock, produced by Gene Simmons. It brought the band some moderate success, but they were never really able to capitalize on it. Now Keel was led by the talented vocalist Ron Keel and also featured guitar whiz Mark Ferrari. Now they had a string of cool albums, but I think their 1987 self-titled album is their crown hair metal jewel. This thing is loaded with potential hits that have huge choruses, songs like Somebody's Waiting, Cherry Lane, United Nations, and so many more. They've given you the right to rock, now go exercise it. Now another band that I can't believe didn't become huge was Hurricane. Especially with the Over the Edge album. The vocals of Kelly Hansen, who currently fronts Foreigner, are just stellar. And don't forget Robert Sarzo on guitar and Tony Cavazzo on the bass. Yes, they're the brothers of the Quiet Riot guys. Now this one you might know. A minor hit for them, I'm On To You. Now they put out tons of great melodic songs. Songs like We Are Strong, Messin' With a Hurricane, and Take What You Want. These guys just had so much potential. Now Roxgang came out in 1988 with the awesome album Things You've Never Done Before. Now they were led by singer Kevin Steele. These guys had a heavy glam look and sleazy catchy tunes. Now they had a lot of straight up rockers, songs like Scratch My Back and Too Cool for School. But I think this one, No Easy Way Out, is probably one of my favorites of the whole genre. Check the chorus, man. Now Kevin had a pretty cool vibe. His voice was full of rasp and blues. And there was definitely some unique songs on there, like this one, Ball and Chain. It's good stuff, man. Jam on it. Now Pretty Boy Floyd hit the scene in 1989 with Leather Boys with Electric Toys. Now this one was their big video, Rock and Roll is Gonna Set the Night on Fire. Now by the time we got to 1989, I think this over-the-top glam look was kind of done, and they were misunderstood by their label and by rock fans. Now this album was not a huge hit, but it stood the test of time and it's aged very well. The songwriting is just so good. Songs like Last Kiss, Wild Angels, Your Mama Won't Know, and this one, 48 Hours. Now, I always thought singer Steve Summers had a style that was very similar to Vince Neil. Well, crank it up and get transported back to the 80s. What'd you think of the bands that were discussed? Who did I miss? Let me know in the comments. Maybe you guys can teach me a thing or two. And if you want to know more about these bands, just scroll through my channel. I've interviewed members of almost every one of these bands. I hope you enjoy this stroll through the late 80s. It was good times, man. Good times. Rock on!